öncesinde niye bir değişiklik oldu? Söz konusu bahsettiğiniz haber, Türkiye karşıtlığı üzerine özellikle kurgulanmış bir haber. Ve biz bugüne kadar şeffaf bir şekilde bütün bilgilenmeleri Dünya Sağlık Örgütü'ne, Dünya Sağlık Örgütü'nün istediği şekliyle verdik. Ve halen vermeye devam ediyoruz. İstanbul özelinde ise bildiğiniz gibi Hıfzı Kurulu ve İller İdaresi bir karar almıştı. İller İdaresi 26'sında, Hıfzı 30 Mart'ta bir karar almıştı. Daha önce vefat edenler kendi memleketlerinde bu defni yapar iken bu tarihlerden sonra buna izin verilmedi. Dolayısıyla herkes, İstanbul'da vefat eden herkes İstanbul'da defnedildi. O nedenle yer yer bazı mezarlıklarda kalabalıklar olmuş olabilir. Burada bakılması gereken Türkiye'deki toplam ölüm oranlarının ne olduğu. Sadece bununla ilgili bir rakam veriyor olacağım. 2009 yılında toplam Türkiye'de ölüm sayısı 152.289. Son 5 yıl içinde yıllık ölümde artış oranı ise her yıl 2.89. 2020'de bu ortalama yıllık ölümdeki artış oranıyla baktığımızda 156.684 beklenen ölüm. Hangi dönemde? 1 Ocak 20 Nisan arasını söylüyor. Peki gerçekleşen ölüm sayısı 153.766. Beklenen 156.684. Gerçekleşen 1 Ocak 20 Nisan arası 153.766. Nerede artış?
It's one of the most visited cities in the world, but the coronavirus pandemic has left Istanbul's streets eerily empty. The capital, on the other hand, is full of people. Top bureaucrats, scientists, policy, and lawmakers have convened for a meeting of the Coronavirus Coordination Committee, headed by President Recep Tayyip Erdogan.
Şöyle bir değerlendirme yaptığımızda en iyi konumda olan şu
When we evaluate the current situation, Turkey seems to be in the best position, followed by Germany. But the UK and France are in an unpleasant situation, which cannot be compared to ours.
That may be because of the early measures taken by Turkish authorities. About 2 weeks after China announced the first case of the coronavirus, Turkey establishes a new science council. 10 days later, on the 20th of January, screenings begin at airports for all passengers arriving from countries with confirmed cases. Turkey is then one of the first countries to send a plane to bring its citizens home from Wuhan. And shortly after that, it suspends all flights between Turkey and China. Less than a week after Iran confirmed its first case, and before the spike, Turkey closes all borders with Iran. And 2 days after Turkey confirmed its first case, schools and universities across the country are shut down. Nevertheless, while it's still fairly limited, the number of confirmed cases in Turkey is rising. And like many countries around the world, the narrative of this pandemic has slowly moved on from containment and mitigation to how to best help the people in sectors that are worst affected. One of the first economic measures taken was Turkey's central bank cutting its benchmark interest rate by 100 basis points to 9.75%. President Erdogan says the Turkish economy has been relatively unscathed.
I believe we can make the most of this 2-month period of resistance. It is a fact we are in a good position compared to other developing countries during this period.
But the real assistance comes in the form of a nearly $16 billion stimulus package. It includes the deferral of credit payments for companies whose cash flow has been disrupted by the pandemic. an increase in the lowest pension payments to $232, and measures to assist the tourism sector in the form of lower duties on domestic flights and cancellation of accommodation tax until November. The hope is that when the calls for social distancing are over, Turkey will emerge as a country closer, more united and stronger. Ali Can Ayanlar, TRT World, Istanbul.
Maybe it stands to reason that Turkey has more coronavirus cases than anywhere outside America and Europe because it bridges east and west. Istanbul's glorious mosques are still calling the faithful to prayer, even though they are shut. And Ramadan began last night with the celebratory evening meal conducted behind closed doors. Scenes like this are all the more remarkable given that this metropolis usually teems with 16 million people. But Turkey's lockdown is also controversially different. It happens in only 31 of 81 provinces and just at weekends, in a country seemingly determined to carry on working. Though the under-20s and over 65s are ordered to stay at home, everyone else gets 5 free masks a week.
We are happy with everything, from the distribution of masks to everything else. Things are as they should be.
Istanbul's well-equipped healthcare system appears to be coping. There have been fewer than 3,000 reported deaths from over 100,000 cases. 2 airport runways have been dug up to build a new overflow hospital. And President Erdogan's claim that Turkey is handling the pandemic better than most seems widely believed.
We have reached the point of starting to flatten the curve. We aim to achieve maximum observance of restrictions during Ramadan and, God willing, a transition to normal life after the holiday.
Although an impressive 40,000 tests are being carried out daily, doctors in Turkey's Medical Association say all is not as it seems, that 25 health workers have died, that Turkey had virus cases some 3 weeks before it first admitted it, and that many cases are going unreported.
When it comes to the death toll, of course we do not have solid numbers to hand, but we have results of some local studies which show that at a minimum the death toll is more than 2.5 times the given number.
Tens of thousands of prisoners have been released from jail for their own safety, but that doesn't include political prisoners who are regarded as terrorists. And criticising the president's handling of this crisis isn't easy. Nearly 4,000 social media accounts have been investigated, with hundreds detained, including this truck driver for criticising official advice to stay at home. If I don't work, he said, I have no bread and I cannot pay the rent. Turks were given just 2 hours' notice of the first weekend lockdown, which prompted panic buying without much social distancing. And even Istanbul's mayor says he wasn't told it was happening in advance. In fact, while Erdogan's party has shown itself looking after the poor, it was the opposition mayors of Istanbul and Ankara who forced him to provide free masks, and they are now under criminal investigation for organising fundraising campaigns of their own. Erdogan has run Turkey for 17 years, and his popularity was already on the wane. The owner of this mobile phone business told us he doesn't qualify for state handouts and so simply can't afford to follow official advice and shut up shop. And although the UK has received vital deliveries of Turkish medical aid this week, health workers complain of a shortage of surgical masks in Istanbul.
If you still have needs yourself, there's no reason to send aid to foreign countries. You're telling the international public, see, we are well prepared, and this is their concern.
Istanbul is now in lockdown for the weekend, but come Monday, these commuters will be back at work, in what is a uniquely Turkish response to this pandemic, one tilted in favour of a struggling economy. and a president determined to stay in office as well.